Hello and welcome again to the Get Sustainable show produced by ESBN in partnership with Green Europe Today and Livestream Studio. Our guest today is Adam Jędrzejczak, Eastern Europe Regional President at Danfoss, world leader in engineering solutions for improving energy efficiency in all economic sectors, with more than 40,000 employees globally. Adam, we're delighted to have you on today.
Thank you for the invitation and having an opportunity to share the experience and our knowledge in the field of the ESG, which is now at the heart of our business management.
Absolutely. Now, Adam, clearly solutions in the energy sector hold the key for challenging climate change across the globe. So from your experience, is building a carbon neutral energy sector in Europe realistically possible by 2050? And if so, what is the roadmap for changes?
Yeah, maybe we can start with some facts and figures. So now we can see that global warming is reaching 1.2 degrees comparing to the pre-industrial level. And if we do nothing, and if we continue with the policies and aspiration that we have, then we will reach or hit 2.8 degrees, so close to 3 degrees by the end of this century. Yeah. So it is a kind of a call for actions. We need to actually move faster because the ambitions which has been defined so far are too soft and too long term. So we need to really somehow move the needle, and move the needle means that we need to move from the promises to actions. Absolutely. That also means that will require some additional actions, and those actions are fully recommended also by the International Energy Agency. They are pushing for a collective usage of the energy efficiency, which is in fact 1/3 of the reduction of the emissions in order to reach the net zero. Yeah. The good thing is that actually the solutions are at our hands, so we don't need to wait decades to invent them. Actually, they are really accessible and affordable, and the only thing is that we need to simply build the awareness and also somehow fight back the stereotype thinking. That energy efficiency is something like sitting in a dark room in a sweater with the lights off. That's actually our main challenge nowadays.
Yeah, there are a lot of negative and dangerous stereotypes about the subject of energy. As you say, the stereotype where we are all to be expected to turn off our lights, turn off our heating and sit in the cold. And that's not the case. And as you say, these solutions exist, and the businesses, consumers are implementing them, and they work. So the only challenge is, how do we adopt this technology widespread to a wider audience?
And this is exactly the point. I mean, the roadmap has been defined. I mean, it has been defined by the European Green Deal in 2019, and it has been actually institutionalized by some regulations coming with a Fit for 55. So the ambition is, or the aspiration is, to reduce the emission by 55% by 2030 and being carbon neutral by 2050. Okay. So in this respect, we have the roadmap defined. Now we also observe a massive move when it comes to the build of renewable energy sources, which is in a sense a trigger to one side of the green equation, which is the supplier side. But when it comes to the other side, meaning the demand side, we need to put much more attention, because it is simply untapped potential which will balance off the needs.
And that's where your expertise comes in. One of the key phrases used by your company is the greenest energy is the energy we don't use, which is what you sort of speaking of at the moment. So what do you mean by this statement? Can you expand on it a bit more for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are defining energy efficiency simply as using less energy and then having the same performance of the task. Yeah. In the other words, it is actually allocating the right amount of the energy in the right time and place. Okay. It is all about managing and then eliminating the waste energy. And we can see in a lot of the sectors that the energy is wasted. Like for instance, in a industry sector, when we are using inefficient electrical motors, or maybe we are not also reusing the heat or coal from the technology processes. Or when it comes to the building sector, for instance, in commercial and residential, we are not really controlling the energy flow within the buildings. So that is a huge potential that we can tackle. And then there are a lot of the examples to illustrate, how to do it. I mean, nowadays Europe, especially, is taking a one-side approach towards the energy crisis, meaning looking and focusing only on the supplier side. But there's a lot of the things to be done with the energy consumption. And then a simple example, from our normal life. I mean, when we are, getting up and taking a shower in the morning before going, to work, we are not keeping the water running. We are turning off the water. And we are not doing that for the heating. We are leaving the houses, the apartments, and we're keeping still, the heating on, which really, consuming much more energy than necessary. So we need to think out of the box, and we need to put a very simple features like control or regulation of the heat in order to really somehow gain on the energy efficiency.
Yeah, so we need to modernize our homes, modernize our business, and take advantage of the technology that is out there to reduce our energy consumption.
As simple as it is. And then also, a lot of the statistics nowadays are showing that, when we put $1 into energy efficiency, we will avoid spending $2 on the supplying energy.
Interesting. One of Danfoss's goals is to achieve carbon neutrality for all your plants within the next 7 years. You are on target to achieving this goal for your pioneering site in Grodzisk Mazowiecki, which happens to be my hometown. How did you manage to achieve such impressive results so quickly, and what advice would you give to other companies wishing to follow in your footsteps?
We have actually a 3-steps approach, starting with reducing. So reducing means utilizing the energy efficiency equipment solutions within the technology, within the buildings that we are having. And then when it comes to actually new built factory in Grodzisk Mazowiecki, we also somehow put forward the net zero energy building standard, which has not been yet required, but we already implemented that. And that give us also a right standards, right regulation to secure that we can use a lot of the equipment, a lot of the solutions within the technology. Second step is reuse. The reuse means that we inspected all the processes and technologies that we are using inside the factory, and then secure that we can reuse the heat and coal from each and every part or piece of the processes. And we managed actually to reuse 83%, wow. 83% of the heating. And then of course we reallocated or redistributed this heat into the office space. And the third step is replace, and the replace means that we are going towards the renewables. And then when it comes to the factories, we implemented a lot of the solutions based on the renewables, like heat pumps, like also some other solutions to reuse and replace the fossil fuel into the renewables. And now we can clearly say that our factory is green. And this is also the approach which is global. We would like to be carbon neutral by 2030, and this is the path to decarbonize industry, and a good example, very close Warsaw in Grodzisk Mazowiecki.
Great work. Congratulations on your achievements. You have clearly indicated how important energy efficiency is in the context of energy transformation and achieving climate goals or energy savings. So what other benefits come from implementing it? Maybe there are some social benefits. How does these changes affect the lives of every one of us?
Yeah, green transition and energy efficiency is creating huge opportunities for the economics, but also for the employment sector. Yeah. Just having a couple of the examples from the markets, we can see that investing $1 million into the green transitions can create at least 10 jobs, new jobs. And then just zooming that into the building sector, then we can potentially think about 200,000 new jobs, directly or indirectly associated with the green transition. That also means that, for the sectors, for the industry which are clearly affected by the green transitions, like coal, like oil industry, there could be a path to actually secure that the employment level will still be, at the same level. Yeah. But we need to simply change the competence of the people. On the other hand, we have some other aspects which we can name, like air quality. I mean, when it comes to the air quality, this is a very important subject for Poland, because we are all somehow suffering from the quality of our air. So that is why there's a lot of the attention to exchange the boilers. But when we are doing that, we are again putting focus on the supply side. So we are securing that the source will be clean. But on the other hand, we need to also put as much focus on the demand side, which means we need to simply calibrate our demand of the energy in the buildings to secure that at the end of the day, the bills, the payments for the energy will not increase or it will not be extreme. And that is definitely impacting this another subject, which is the energy poverty, an important and very devastating subject, which is actually painful for Poland, because we are reaching the level of 12% of their energy poverty, and the remedies around this are very much somehow associating our actions with very simple solutions like for instance control and regulating our radiators with the thermostatic valves, for instance, and by installing them we can clearly control the temperature, and then of course we can definitely impact on the bills, on the cost of the energy, because 1 degree lowering the temperature means something around 5 to 8% less cost that we are paying.
Interesting. As you say, it's a key word that we hear is just transition. So transitioning towards a more sustainable future without leaving anybody behind in terms of jobs and in terms of their costs of running their homes. So that's one of the challenges that we're facing, and I hope that we'll develop programs that really take advantage of the technology that's available and just implements the changes that we need to introduce.
And definitely, on this note, we need to look into also kind of a political context. We need responsible politicians that they pave the way, and then create a lot of the regulation which will support, a path of green transition. And also, it's a kind of a collaboration that we should see in the future between the business leaders, the decision makers, and also politicians. They need to convey the message to the everyday people that it is meaningful, and there are a lot of the benefits to go green.
Yeah.
And the synergies out from the technologies, from the politician, and also from the market are really the way to be successful with the energy transition.
It's very interesting that you're a business leader calling for politicians to take more definitive action on climate change.
There's no other option actually to do it, and a good motivation for them actually to take it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, another area you can perhaps share some of your progress in concerns your achievements in supporting women in their career progression. Yeah. Approximately 25% of your leaders are women, and although there is definitely still room for improvement, this is a very good result. So what is the key to achieving equal opportunities for all?
Yeah, Danfoss actually, thinking about the diversity as a driver to the innovation, and that is why we set a quite ambitious target. I mean, for this year it is 25% of women leaders, and then for 2030, 2025, we would like to achieve 30%. And I'm happy actually to see that in Poland and also in the East region we already achieved this target.
Well, congratulations on your work. Thank you very much for visiting us today. We must invite you back next year, or maybe we'll come and visit you. We'll see.
You're more than welcome actually to visit, because this is a diamond in the crown. I can tell you also in Danfoss to have the factory which is green, and also we can be proud of all the solutions that are working and are having an effect on the climate.
Thank you very much for the invitation. We are constantly on the lookout for new and interesting business cases to explore on our show, so if you would like to share your story, then please get in touch with our team on social media or via email at contact@greeneuropetoday.com. Thank you very much for watching today, and we hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.